notice the cat in the background. This is David. Don't mind him. He's just watching me while I make a YouTube video. Anyway, the reason why I'm making this YouTube video is actually really important, and it is about scamming phone calls. This is just basically to tell you guys what happened to me today. Oh my gosh. So I'm literally just coming down from this because it was a ridiculous situation. I almost had a panic attack, heart attack, all rolled into one, just because it was one of the most scariest experiences of my life. But what I'm going to ask you first of all is, do not forget to like this video. Please comment down below if you've ever had a scamming experience. Share this video with your parents, share it with any young people you know, share it with especially elderly people or anyone you think that might actually find themselves in a vulnerable position, who might not be as savvy, who might not know all this information, because it literally could save them so much anxiety and so much money in the long run. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to go straight into it. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to me and how I almost got scammed by someone pretending to be from the HMRC. Now, for those who don't know what HMRC is, basically they're the people who deal with your taxes in the UK. So I received a call on a number. First of all, it was a voice recorded message. The voice recorded message straight away said, please do not hang up this call, for if you do, you run the risk of obtaining further fines against you or possibly legal action being taken that can result in imprisonment. Now, immediately that scare tactic got my attention because I was like, whoa, okay, this sounds a little serious. Let me just double check. Keep in mind as well, the number wasn't some foreign number. So immediately I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, let me just find out what this is about just in case. So immediately the call put me through to an advisor, and the person introduced themselves as, get this, Officer Patricia Baker. Now, if there are any Officer Patricia Bakers out there, obviously it probably wasn't you, but this person identified themselves as Officer Patricia Baker and basically made out that they were one of the officers who were handling these kind of cases. Straight away, the person, they just asked me to reconfirm my name. Now, here's the thing. They didn't ask me for any other sensitive details. So they didn't ask me for a date of birth. They didn't ask me for mother's maiden name. Didn't ask me for any of those kind of informations, which normally you would expect to if they were going to reveal such confidential information. But here's the thing about panic and worry and anxiety. It cuts off the ability to reason. So where common sense would naturally kick in for somebody and say, hang on a minute, this seems a little weird, why aren't you doing normal DPA under GDPR rules? It just didn't. Panic was already there from the outset of the call because of the automated message, and this is definitely what they were counting on. As the call went through to this woman, the woman basically advised, okay, we've had a look over your file, we can see that your employer has been making payments to the tax office on time and regularly, which is fine. However, we've done a random search on your file and can see inconsistencies between 2016 and 2019. This has resulted in a fee that you owe the tax revenue office, and you owe us £1,906.98. Now immediately I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? That's ridiculous. How the heck did that happen? But again, rather than common sense kicking in at this point, panic had already set in and anxiety had already set in. So I was already on the back foot with this. The next thing the person said was, we have to make you aware that unfortunately papers have already been filed. The proceedings are already in motion. We have already had to submit this to your local court authority, and criminal investigations have already started against you. I was like, oh my gosh. At this point, I was almost catatonic. I was like, what the heck? How has this happened? What? No, I've not received any letters. I've not received any warning phone calls. Nothing to indicate that something really bad of this magnitude has happened, I was literally beside myself, as you can imagine. So the next thing that happened was that she basically advised me that due to this, and I want to just put this in there as well, the woman actually says to me, we have strong evidence that this was not done by any fault of your employer, nor by any fraudulent activity. We have strong evidence to show that you are the one who has committed these crimes. We have strong evidence to show that this is something you have done. Now, we would like to first of all try and understand why you felt it necessary to commit this crime. And I'm like, what? I haven't committed any crime. I don't even handle all this stuff. My tax payments, as you just said, come from my employer. How could I have done any of this? And the woman was like, please calm down. Please calm down. I'm so sorry, but I do need to have this conversation with you. She said to me that judgments had already been raised against me, and that if I did not comply and pay the outstanding fee, again, of £1,906.98, I would have officers come in the next few days to my home to arrest me. The woman actually asked me the question, have you got a criminal lawyer you can get in contact with? I was like, a criminal lawyer? Obviously not. What I can do is I can give you the details of the courthouse where your case is. You can go down there, you can actually apply with your criminal lawyer to the judge, and you can actually have a conversation with them. But we have to warn you, if you go down that road of this proceeding and you lose, you can actually be fined further cost charges for this case and face up to 5 years imprisonment. Now, you can almost imagine that I am nearly in tears at this point, and I don't get sucked into these things easily, but working in the financial industry as long as I have for the last 15 years, there's certain words, key phrases, and even terminologies that I am aware of and that I understand some of the processes with, that was enough to definitely have my attention. And that is what was getting me the most about the whole thing. When she could really hear my panic level go to the increased, then she said, there is another option. Now, obviously, by this time, you're thinking to yourself, anything, oh my gosh, if you can give me anything to help me out of this situation, or help me put this to bed, or help me get this cancelled, it would be a blessing. Tell me, what are my options here apart from this? So she says, here's one of the options that can happen here. You've got two options. You can either, one, go down the first road, which we just discussed, or two, you can pay the outstanding fee. If you agree to pay the outstanding fee over the phone now, what we'll do is we will cancel the criminal charges, we will cancel the arrest warrant, and we will be able to settle this directly with the court. So I said, well, wait a minute, would I have to pay that money to you? And this is where she got me. The woman said, no, you would not pay the money to me. You would have to pay the money directly to the courthouse. Now that was something that got me, because I'm thinking, well, if it's so easy to get this done and dusted by just paying you over the phone, then something must be up. But the woman actually said, no, you wouldn't give me your bank details. You wouldn't actually give this money to me. You would actually give this money to your local courthouse. Now, what I can do is I can put you through to the officer in charge of this case in the courthouse, and you can have this discussion with them. You can make the payment over the phone with them, and they will talk you through the rest of the proceedings. But I do insist that you literally hire a lawyer to be present. So obviously my heart is beating out of my chest at this point, and I'm thinking, well, hold on, I don't have this money. I had her even reconfirm the figure, and she said it again, £1,906.98. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't even have that money in my bank account. I have some money, but I don't have that. The moment she picked up on that, though, this is where, in my opinion, she tripped up. She said to me, okay, So there is actually a third option we can offer you, because at this point I'm like, well, can't we work out a payment plan? Isn't there a way I can pay this off over time? And the woman was insistent that because proceedings had gone so far already, that was no longer an option. So she said to me, okay, there is a third option here. You can make what's called a gesture of goodwill payment. So what that will do is that will actually show the courts that you're willing to take this proceeding seriously, and you can make a deposit payment on what you owe, but you will still have to clear the remaining balance. She goes, we need to take at least 50%. So 50% of that would be, and then she gave me the amount, obviously the amount divided by 2. So she gave me the amount and said, if you can pay this now, then what we can do is we can actually put it down as a goodwill payment, and we can take it further from there. So I'm there thinking, well, that's a bit strange actually, because this is when logic did start to step back in. You just said to me, if I pay you the full amount, you would have the criminal charges against me dropped and the whole case would be submitted as settled. However, now you're saying that all I have to do is pay half and you're going to do the exact same actions. So I was like, okay, that sounds a little bit weird. So I just said, okay, you know what? I need to think. So I said to her, can I please call you back? Do you have a reference number? Can I call you back to discuss this? Because I think in my head, I was like, okay, I need to talk to someone, whether I need to talk to HMRC and just make sure this is them, or whether I just need to speak to my parents and be like, Mom, Dad, help me, I don't know what's going on. Like literally, I was like, I need to think of something, but I can't do it on this call. The woman was like, I'm really sorry, but if you hang up the phone, there's nothing further I can do, because it's going to show, because the call right now is recorded, and if you hang up and you ring us back, the call will not be recorded and we won't be able to do this as evidence of your goodwill. So my mindset was like, oh my gosh, I can't even think right now. So I said, you know what I'm going to do is I am going to put you on hold. Can I just put you on hold for a second? I just need to get something. So she said, yeah, that's fine. That's not a problem at all. You can put me on hold. So I put her on hold. Thank God for Google. And again, why I say it again, please share this video. Please put your comments down below of your experience, because this can really help somebody. Create forums, raise awareness out there of these kind of things, especially during this time where people are already upset by the current climate and everything that's going on. So the first thing I did was hit Google. I went to Google and I just said, all I typed in was a scammer call. I just put in HMRC are calling me to tell me I'm going to be arrested. Immediately a big block came up for me to say these scamming calls are happening right now, and we've seen an increase in them during this time. The moment I saw that, immediately some peace started to settle back in myself. I still wasn't 100% sure that this was a scam call. However, it made me a bit more clearer minded. I began to calm down a little bit. I began to get my senses back. So I went back on the call and I said, excuse me, but can I get your name? Because this is what one of the websites had said. Get the name of the person talking to you. So I said, can I get your name? And that's when she repeated and said, I am Officer Patricia Baker. So I said, okay, thanks. I'm just going to pop you back on hold for a quick second. She was like, yeah, that's fine. So I popped her back on hold. Immediately what I did, which everyone should try and do, whether if it's a bank, if it says they're HMRC, whatever, always call them yourself. Get through to their dedicated lines that you know are legitimate, and get in contact with an advisor just to confirm that who you're talking to and what you're doing is correct. So the first thing I tried to do was try and call HMRC. Now I don't mean to badmouth HMRC with this one, but it was ridiculous. If you want to talk about your self-employment status, please say self-employment status. There was not one option that said speak to an advisor or fraud or phishing or anything like that, or are you on the line with us, a scamming call right now, hit this button, nothing on there. So I thought, you know what, let me go back to the website. So I go onto the HMRC website. There's nothing on there about phishing apart from real further down. There's no web chat. I can't find where the web chat is. I can't find a number to contact somebody. anybody if this is actually happening, just an email address. So at this point, I'm already scared, I'm already het up, but I could only imagine that if my grandparents or if anybody vulnerable in my family had actually had this phone call, they could have found themselves in a very, very different situation than I do right now. And this is why we need to raise awareness, and again, why I'm making this video on my Real Quality You YouTube channel, so that hopefully this will help anybody else. So I go back to my phone where I've got the woman on hold, and all of a sudden I can see that because I tried to ring HMRC, the woman has hung up. You know what, let me just double check something. So I try ringing back the number which the person has contacted me on, and would you know it, the number says, "This number does not exist, this call cannot be connected." I was like, thank God, oh my goodness, thank God. I was in such a state of peace of mind right there at that moment, because just the call saying it couldn't be connected because this number was fake. The number actually said this number, it does not exist. We cannot. I was just like, oh my gosh, wow, that was close. Can I just tell you that during this whole situation, for anyone who suffers with anxiety or any kind of depression or any kind of OCD, your mind goes all the way to the end of the spectrum. I already found myself in my imagination standing in front of a judge. I already found myself emptying out my hard-earned savings account to try and pay this. I already saw myself being put behind bars, and nothing had even happened yet. Seriously, nothing had even happened yet. You would even think that my faith would have kicked in by now. When your mind goes in a state of panic, it's very difficult to ground yourself. I had to take a step back consciously, and I had to force myself to do that. When you make actions in panic situations, you can end up making some very, very, very bad choices, and that is almost what I did. When I realized it was a scam phone call, I instantly got onto the email of HMRC. I emailed and I told them this entire story, because these scammers, they're getting better and they're getting brighter, and we have to be so aware, not to scare anybody, but we just need to be aware, and we need to know what to do, and we need to know how to equip people, especially people who don't handle, let's say, pressure situations very well. We need to know how to equip them with the right information and with the right support system. I definitely looked out with this one by the woman hanging up the call, and internet, Google having the right information at the right time. But you know what, something we can do, like what I'm doing right now, if you have a situation like this or a near miss, post it on your Facebook, send it on your WhatsApp, spread the word as much as you can, get it on your Snapchat or your Instagram. Make people aware that they are not the only people who can come across this situation. I don't know how many people this video might help. I'm really hoping it helps anybody, but you know what, again, as I said before, get in contact with your loved ones, especially those who are vulnerable, especially those who don't know. Share this, like this, subscribe to this channel. Again, comment your experiences, help somebody else. If you have any numbers that you know really can help people, any numbers that do get posted under this video, I will be checking out myself to make sure they're legitimate, so nobody else gets fooled by, you know, fake numbers and stuff like that. But you know what? Help each other out, especially now more than ever.